Hey guys, if you didn't already know, this podcast contains frank and factual discussions about sexual health, pleasure, and responsibility. So listener discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, it's Goody o'clock. It's time for a good 15 with Goody Howard, and I'm your host, Goody Howard. You guys, today we have an Ask Goody. We have a question from a listener, and this is gonna be kind of good. Some of y'all may need to know this information anyway. So the question is, hey Goody, I have a question. I recently went for my 6 weeks checkup after my daughter, and tested positive for gonorrhea and chlamydia. I know that I got this from my husband because, she rambles on, and I don't want to give any of that because it's going to be details. But essentially, she went for her 6 weeks checkup after she had her daughter and tested positive for gonorrhea and chlamydia. She's married, and she wants to know how she can confront her husband about this STD. Now, a couple of things before we get started. I don't know how many of you are parents, but when you are pregnant, they run your blood for everything. You are tested for every disease, STD, STI, everything under the planet. So when she was pregnant, she was STD free because it would have come up on her labs and her doctor would have said something. So that's how we know that this lady didn't have this STD prior to going to her checkup or prior to having her daughter, which deductive reasoning states that means that she got the STD from her husband. So let's just check that off the list first, because I know some people are like, oh, well, STDs are asymptomatic and blah, blah, blah. And they can be, but in this instance, because she's had immediate health care for the last 10 months, she has not had an STD in the last 10 months. So this has a couple of layers. This situation, essentially, when you have a baby, you're supposed to not have vaginal sex for 6 weeks. And they say not to have vaginal sex for 6 weeks because your cervix is still open, which means you're susceptible to infection. You could get pregnant more easily, like back to back. My sister and I are 9 months apart. My mother went back for her 6 weeks checkup, pregnant with my sister. We were both born in the same year. Like, legit, I was born in February. My sister was born in December. So they tell you not to have sex for 6 weeks. And my thought is that during this time, her husband dipped out and was not protecting himself, etc., and brought home something he didn't leave the house with. Now, my thought process would be, first of all, shut it down. Have a sit down and be like, look, like get the paperwork, and just put it down and show him the paperwork with his prescription. You can ask your doctor for a partner prescription as well. So you can go ahead and get everybody taken care of. Now, where he got it from, you can't be worried about that person. But I would put down the paperwork and the prescription like, what the hell? There's no easy way to do this. At the end of the day, you can meet up, but it's going to be a total buzzkill either way. I mean, you could be messy and post it on Facebook or Twitter, but that's really not the way you want to go as an adult. I'm assuming these are adults because of the whole husband and child thing. Essentially, you're going to have to confront him and be like, this is why, this is what happened when I went to the doctor. I know it wasn't me because of A, B, C, and D. What the hell is going on? You're going to need to have a conversation about infidelity. You're going to need to have a conversation about safer sex. You're going to have a conversation about honesty and transparency. There are a whole lot of things going on here. My suggestion would be to just have a sit down. Maybe he's in there watching TV or something, and you just come in here and bring him the paperwork. Like, what is this? This is what I went to the doctor, and they told me I have 2 STDs. What have you been doing? This is not going to be a warm, fuzzy conversation. You're going to want to maybe write down some bullet points of the things that you specifically want to know. because in the heat of the moment you may forget. I always encourage writing notes down. You want to also make sure that you are not physical with this person. Like, don't touch them, don't be in their space. I would negate all sexual contact until you figure out where you are with that, because you didn't mention in the letter, but I don't know if you're contemplating, ending this relationship, or if you feel like, the infidelity is going to be an issue. Can you forgive him? Can you move on, etc.? You have to figure out what this information does for you, how this changes your life. You have a new baby to think about, and you really have a whole new ball game of circumstances now. So get your prescriptions. Make sure that, if you're nursing, that they're not going to affect the nursing baby, and have a conversation with your husband. Like, this is not a sweet and courteous conversation. This is brass tacks. There may be some profanity. Write down what you think you want to know. I'm going to tell you up front, don't get bogged down in who is it, why is it, where is it, all of those things up front. Initially, what you want to make sure that your partner understands is that you contracted this STD from them. You were in a position where you trusted them, so you weren't using protection, and they've given you an STD. Address that first and foremost. Address your feelings about that first and foremost. Don't get bogged down in the infidelity part so much that you forget about your health and safety being compromised. Then move on to who was it, why, whatever. You may not want to know who it was. It may not matter who it was. My opinion is that it doesn't matter who it was. It matters that it happened. You may find out that it's not even a woman, and you may be making assumptions that it's a female, and therefore upset about something that you may have an entirely different circumstance to be considering. It may not have been a woman. So be mindful when you're asking questions. Make sure you really want to know the answers to those questions. And then, like I said, before you even say anything, think about how you feel about it and what this means for you. Are you wanting to work through this? Are you trying to stay in the relationship? Is counseling an option? What is your outcome? What do you want to happen? What are your expectations? Don't consider his feelings. Don't consider his expectations and what he wants out of this confrontation, because he didn't consider your feelings and your issues when he went out and contracted the STD in the first place. So make sure that you're centering yourself when you're having these conversations. A lot of times, women, we don't center ourselves. It's all about them and what they did and how they feel and all these other things. And we have to center ourselves, because it's not going to be a position of genuine communication. It's all going to be about them, and it's not about them. It's about you. Your health was jeopardized. Your health was compromised. You are in your doctor's office as a married woman, celebrating your 6-week, heal up from your daughter and everything, finding out you have an STD. So make sure that you center yourself and your feelings. Now, with something as serious as this, don't mince words, don't pull punches. You should be pissed. You have every right to be pissed. This wasn't the hand that you deserve to be dealt. It wasn't a game you sat down to play. This is a pain, and this is where you are. And, he caused it. So be honest with yourself about your feelings and write down what you really want to know. I can't stress that enough. Writing it down is important. But you want to address it head on and be like, what the hell? The nurturer in you, the partner in you, the wife in you, the mother in you may want to make this, about you, and make this, oh, he doesn't love me, or, oh, infidelity has nothing to do with the partner that got cheated on. So cheating is all about the person that's doing the cheating, not the person that they're cheating on. So I don't want you to internalize this situation as a message about your unworthiness or a message about something that you're not doing correctly or an issue that you have. This is not about you. Essentially, your husband got impatient during the 6 weeks and went and dipped out and got something new. And now there are consequences to that action. It's important that you understand that and don't let your brain and your heart override what you know. You know that this is not about you. This is about him. So I think it's very, very important that you get everything together, get the prescription. Make him go get tested again, though. make him go get tested for anything. Even if you get him a prescription, make him go to the doctor, make him get tested. And then, again, once you've decided if you want to maintain the relationship or whatever, the counseling comes into play and all these other, what can be done to get the trust back, depending on what your stance is. This may not be the first time. Based on the letter, I can't tell if it's the first time or not, but I think that it's important that we are mindful of what we're dealing with. I really, really hate this for you, and I know that you're not the only person in this situation. This has happened so many times in life, and it's just really, really unfortunate. My thing is that we need to make sure that we hold people that do this to us accountable. And so, again, this infidelity part of this letter, that's going to be a whole nother issue. I think that counseling is important. I think that you might want to go ahead and find some therapists before you even have the conversation. Like I said, when you make your bullet points about what you want to say and how you want to say it, don't hide your feelings. It's okay to yell, scream, cry, cuss. Just don't put your hands on them. You don't want to escalate an already volatile situation. But I want to make sure that you understand that this is not the end of anything for you. Luckily, gonorrhea and chlamydia can be cured, and it's not something that you're going to have to deal with the rest of your life. It's not something that you can pass on to your daughter postpartum. So, this disease in your household can end with you. You have control over what's going on because you have the information. So my suggestion would be to sit down, cuss it out, figure out what the hell happened, and move on from there. Now, being a sex and relationship coach is, my calling or whatever, but I'm never going to tell someone to leave their relationship unless it's abusive. And even in that way, you're not going to say leave the relationship. You're going to give them tools and homework and assignments and things that kind of guide them to that outcome for themselves. You have to make those types of decisions for yourself. So, like I said, figure out what happy, healthy looks like for you. Figure out how this information impacts your life going forward, your relationship going forward, what you want that to look like, if you're willing to work on it, your real genuine feelings about the STD information and how that weighs on you and affects your life. And then go at him with all of that. I mean, there's no excuse. There's nothing he can say to rationalize what happened. There's nothing he can say to, explain away or mansplain the deal, So just go ahead, have the conversation, knock it out. I would say make sure none of the kids are there, get a sitter. Don't go out in public with this. Have a meeting at home. If you did, you know what? I take that back. You could meet in a public place. That may ensure your best behavior. But if you're one of those people like me that really gives no fucks, I would just say do it at home, because otherwise you'll go viral for all the wrong reasons. You'll be on Facebook and WorldStar and everywhere else for all the wrong reasons. So just figure out the setting that you want to have that conversation in. Get babysitter if this is not your only baby. Make sure that there are no interruptions, no distractions. Put the phones down and just have this conversation. This is not something that is going to be easy. If you have any other questions, though, or if you need guidance, if you need mediation, I do intimacy consulting with couples. If you have any further, like if you want actual guidance from an actual counselor, please reach out to me, askgoody@gmail.com. I'm available. My rates are $75 an hour with a 2-hour minimum, and then $50 an hour after that. I really try to make it accessible and affordable. If you are not in the Dallas area, I do it via Skype. We can do it via phone, however you're comfortable. But please, if not me, someone, make sure that you get some sort of guidance and coaching. I really appreciate you guys sending in questions. We have another one on the next episode you do not want to miss. So, again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to book me for a toy party or oral technique workshop, a counseling or consulting session, anything like that, you can hit me at askgoody@gmail.com. You can go to the website at askgoody.com, and I am Ask Goody, AskGoody, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will get you guys next time. Until then, be good or be good at it.